One of the most expensive apples in this video is not the sweetest. One of the smallest was once dismissed because it did not look impressive. Another appears almost black, yet tastes more familiar than its photographs suggest. And one of the finest cooking apples has rough skin that a supermarket might reject. The surprises are not limited to flavor. A transparent center can increase an apple's value. Direct sunlight can make an imperfect peel more desirable. And decades of laboratory work can create luxury without rarity. Across these 12 varieties, luxury will keep changing. From size and color to invisible honey cores, risky harvests, controlled genetics, royal tradition, and recipes preserved for centuries. Some earn their price through extraordinary work. Others sell a powerful story. Each new apple will challenge the definition created by the one before it. By the final variety, the apple that looks least luxurious may offer the richest experience of all. Sekai Ichi. The clearest place to begin is with an apple designed to make value visible. Its Japanese name means world's number one, and the variety is generally described as a cross between red delicious and golden delicious. It was first raised in the 20th century and entered the Japanese market in the 1970s. A large specimen can approach 2 pounds, making an ordinary apple look almost miniature beside it. Growers prune for light, thin blossom clusters until branches carry fewer apples, protect selected fruit from surface damage, and repeatedly judge color and shape as harvest approaches. Apples with small marks may taste perfectly good, but never enter the highest grade. The survivors can be wrapped individually and arranged in presentation boxes for business gifts, family visits, or formal occasions. That culture explains why a flawless Sekai Ichi may sell for far more than its ingredients could justify. The first bite is often the unexpected part. Instead of overwhelming flavor, it offers abundant juice, mild sweetness, soft acidity, and a gentler crunch than its scale suggests. Nutritionally, it remains comparable to an ordinary whole apple. Sekai Ichi is luxurious, not because it feeds one person better, but because months of labor turn a familiar fruit into a public expression of respect. Black Diamond. Where Sekai Ichi sells scale, Black Diamond sells mystery. The name is commonly attached to dark Huanyu apples grown around Ningxi on the Tibetan Plateau, rather than to a clearly documented independent cultivar. High elevation, intense ultraviolet light, cool air, and wide shifts between daytime and nighttime temperatures can encourage heavy pigment in the peel. Under natural light, genuine fruit may appear burgundy, violet, or extremely dark red, not perfectly jet black. This distinction matters because heavily edited photographs have helped create claims that the real apple cannot always fulfill. Only evenly colored specimens are likely to enter premium gift packs, but prices reported online vary widely and are often repeated without a named farm, grade, or market. Cutting the apple creates a second surprise. Beneath the dramatic peel is pale flesh with a crisp, sweet profile closer to a familiar red delicious relative than to an unknown fruit. The dark peel contains anthocyanin pigments, although that does not turn it into a miracle food. Black Diamond represents the most fragile form of luxury, rarity amplified by photography and storytelling. Its geography is meaningful, and its appearance can be beautiful, but the buyer should pay for verified origin, not for an impossible image. Kinsei. Kinsei moves luxury away from unusual nature and into deliberate human control. The name can mean Venus, a fitting reference for an apple valued for smooth golden skin and a restrained pink blush. Japanese produce histories credit breeder Hajime Sato with developing the variety in Aomori during the second half of the 20th century. Its calm appearance hides an unusually active growing process. While the apples are still developing, farmers may cover them with individual bags. The work protects the surface and limits early exposure to sunlight. Near harvest, the bags can be removed, so carefully managed light develops the desired finish without leaving the peel rough or damaged. The gift grade result favors smooth skin, storage, and visual consistency. When first tasted, Kinsei is firm and finely crisp rather than explosive. Its sweetness is rich, its acidity is restrained, and floral or honeyed aromas become clearer after the apple warms slightly from refrigeration. It belongs on a fruit plate with mild cheese or prosciutto, where stronger ingredients will not bury its perfume. Its nutrition remains ordinary, but its production does not. Kinsei earns its luxury through precision. The buyer is tasting an orchard in which sunlight, time, and even the appearance of the peel have been managed almost by hand. Koutoku. Koutoku reverses nearly everything established by the larger gift apples. It is small, yellow gold, and easy to overlook from the outside. Developed in Aomori through the work of breeder Jinya Kimura, it struggled for attention because traditional premium grading often rewarded size and perfect color. Its turning point was hidden around the core. Under suitable weather and harvest conditions, natural sugars can accumulate in translucent, glass-like areas known as water core, or more affectionately as a honey core. No honey is injected into the apple, and the clear flesh is not evidence of rot. It is a physiological sign associated with advanced ripeness, concentrated sweetness, and powerful aroma. A grower cannot see the entire result before cutting the fruit. Timing matters, storage changes the effect, and not every apple develops the same interior. Premium selections are often marketed under the Komitsu name, turning the once disadvantageous small fruit into a short-season delicacy. The first bite can release notes of flowers, ripe pear, and concentrated apple candy, followed by dense sweetness and enough acidity to keep the flesh lively. It is best served fresh near room temperature. Its sweetness is an experience, not a health advantage. Koutoku deserves its premium because it proves that luxury can remain invisible until the moment the apple is opened. Sun Fuji. Sun Fuji introduces a different paradox. The less protected apple can become the more desirable one. Fuji itself was developed at the Tohoku Research Station in Fujisaki, Aomori, from Rawls Janet and Red Delicious. Its name is connected with Fujisaki, not simply borrowed from Mount Fuji. The Sun version is not a separate genetic variety. It describes Fuji apples grown without the individual bags used to control the surface of some Japanese fruit. Direct sunlight can encourage stronger sugar development, deeper aroma, and the water core prized by many buyers. It also exposes the peel to weather, insects, uneven color, and natural marks. Growers accept greater cosmetic risk in pursuit of flavor, then use pruning, blossom thinning, leaf management, and repeated sorting to produce apples that still meet premium standards. A properly ripened Sun Fuji begins with a loud, clean crunch and abundant juice. Dense sweetness arrives first, followed by enough acidity and light spice to prevent it from becoming flat. It works raw, while its firmness also survives baking and tarte tatin. Eating the whole fruit preserves the fiber that clear juice removes. Sun Fuji is not luxurious because Fuji is rare. It becomes luxurious when a grower accepts a less predictable appearance to deliver the fullest version of a familiar flavor. Honeycrisp. Honeycrisp created an American form of apple luxury based not on ceremony, but on sound and texture. It emerged from the University of Minnesota breeding program and reached the market in the 1990s after being selected for cold hardiness and eating quality. When bitten, its relatively large cells fracture and release juice quickly. The result is the sharp crack and burst of moisture that changed what many American shoppers expected from a fresh apple. Demand pushed prices above common varieties, yet growers paid for that popularity in the orchard. Honeycrisp can develop sunburn, uneven color, storage disorders, stem punctures, and bitter pit, a calcium-related condition that leaves dark sunken spots. Apples on the same tree may mature at different times, forcing crews to return for several selective harvests. A large share can be downgraded after receiving nearly the same labor as perfect fruit. That conflict between consumer excitement and grower risk is the real source of the premium. At its best, Honeycrisp is crisp without feeling hard, strongly juicy, sweet, and sharply refreshing. It belongs in fresh dishes where its texture stays central. Cheaper apples can perform just as well in baking. Its nutrition is ordinary. Honeycrisp earns its price only when climate, harvest timing, and storage preserve the famous bite. A disappointing one proves that a luxury name cannot rescue ordinary quality. Cosmic Crisp. Cosmic Crisp begins where Honeycrisp becomes difficult. Known during development as WA38, it came from a 1997 cross between Honeycrisp and Enterprise at Washington State University. Researchers were not trying to create the rarest apple. They wanted strong crunch and juice, better consistency for growers, and a longer selling season for retailers. More than 20 years passed through selection, orchard trials, storage studies, and commercial preparation before consumers encountered it. The dark red peel is scattered with pale lenticels that resemble stars against a night sky, inspiring the market name. Its luxury comes from accumulated research rather than individual hand-wrapping. The first bite is dense and firm, with balanced sweetness and acidity instead of a single dominant note. That texture can survive storage that would leave a delicate apple soft or tired. Cut pieces also tend to brown slowly, while the structure holds in pies and baked apples. Its wider consequence is reduced waste. Durability gives growers, stores, and households more time to use the fruit. Cosmic Crisp is a technological luxury. The buyer is paying for decades spent making an apple less likely to disappoint. Envy. Envy shows what happens when luxury moves from the research orchard into a controlled global brand. The apple sold under that name is the Silite cultivar, created in New Zealand from Royal Gala and Braeburn. The first cross was made in the 1980s, followed by years of testing and selection from thousands of seedlings. The chosen fruit combined concentrated sweetness, firm flesh, attractive red over gold skin, strong storage, and one practical trait: the pale flesh browns slowly. Envy is grown under license in selected regions, and fruit sold under the brand must meet defined quality expectations. This system can protect consistency, but part of the premium also pays for controlled supply, intellectual property, grading, and marketing. The eating experience is intentionally polished. A ripe envy is very crisp and juicy, low in aggressive acidity, and gently floral, with notes that can recall ripe pear. Its slow browning makes it useful on fruit boards, in salads, or in prepared lunches where appearance matters for hours. The trait improves convenience, not nutritional value. Envy is genuinely premium, but its luxury is institutional rather than rare. It asks whether an apple becomes more valuable when every stage, from who may grow it to how it reaches the shelf, is designed to control the experience. Pink Pearl. Pink Pearl breaks away from controlled perfection by hiding a natural surprise beneath an ordinary surface. Its pale green or yellow skin can look almost unfinished, yet the flesh inside may be rose, coral, or bright pink. Northern California breeder Albert Eder developed it from red-fleshed material and introduced it in the 1940s, after years of selecting unusual seedlings. The color comes from anthocyanin pigments, not dye, but climate, maturity, and the individual fruit can change its intensity. That variation makes every cut slightly uncertain. Pink Pearl ripens relatively early, can be vulnerable to apple scab, and does not always remain at peak quality for long. These weaknesses help explain why specialty orchards and farmers markets suit it better than long supermarket supply chains. Crisp flesh carries lively acidity, berry-like sharpness, and enough sweetness to remain balanced. It can produce naturally pink applesauce, juice, salads, and tart fillings, although strong heat may soften the brightest color. Its pigmented flesh provides anthocyanins, but the amount varies too much for extravagant health promises. Pink Pearl earns its luxury through fragile availability and sensory surprise. Unlike a perfectly branded apple, it cannot promise that every fruit will look exactly the same, and that uncertainty is part of its value. Calville Blanc d'hiver. Calville Blanc d'hiver replaces visual novelty with culinary memory. This old European apple was documented around the beginning of the 17th century and became closely associated with French pastry. Thomas Jefferson grew it at Monticello, and orchard histories later connected it with Julia Child, who praised its cooking quality. The fruit does not resemble a modern commercial ideal. Its pale yellow-green surface can be uneven, and the crown rises in strong ribs like a folded chef's hat. Yet those irregularities protect a quality that matters more in a kitchen: controlled transformation under heat. In a tart or galette, the sweet sharp slices absorb butter, sugar, and caramel, while retaining enough structure to remain distinct. That performance made it a natural choice for refined apple tarts and tarte tatin. Some horticultural sources report comparatively high vitamin C, although the amount depends on climate, ripeness, and storage. Calville survives mainly through specialist growers, because supermarkets have little reason to reward its shape or late-season patience. Its luxury is culinary rather than cosmetic. The buyer pays for an apple that generations of cooks kept alive because heat reveals qualities that the raw fruit only begins to suggest. Ashmead's Kernel. Ashmead's Kernel may be the strongest challenge to everything a luxury fruit is expected to look like. It is small to medium in size, often misshapen, and covered with rough brown russet over green-gold skin. The variety arose in Gloucester, England, in the early 18th century, and is traditionally associated with an Ashmead family garden. For more than 300 years, it survived without bright color, enormous size, or modern branding. Flavor kept it alive. A good example delivers high sweetness and sharp acidity together, followed by aromas compared with citrus peel, spice, pear drops, and old-fashioned hard candy. It can seem severe immediately after harvest, then become more balanced after storage. Ashmead's Kernel works fresh, in juice, or in hard cider where its sugar and acid both matter. Its rough peel offers no special medicinal power. Commercially, its weakness is obvious. A store can sell a shiny, uniform apple with far less explanation. That weakness creates its modern luxury. Buying it supports orchards willing to preserve complexity, even when appearance lowers the marketable yield. It is not an expensive apple pretending to be beautiful. It is an exceptional flavor that survived, despite never looking expensive. Lady Apple. Lady Apple brings the story back to size, but not to the enormous scale of Sekai Ichi. Also known as Api or Pomme d'Api, it is a miniature French apple documented by the 17th century. Historical accounts associate it with elite gardens and the court of Louis XIV, while later families used the red-cheeked fruit in Christmas wreaths, table displays, and winter gifts. 19th century trade accounts describe American-grown lady apples traveling to Britain and receiving premium prices, an early example of international luxury fruit. Its flavor is delicate rather than dramatic, lightly sweet, gently aromatic, and crisp enough to be eaten whole. Its small size also means a modest portion of fiber and nutrients. Judged only by intensity, Lady Apple may seem less impressive than the varieties before it. Judged as a cultural object, it completes the argument. Luxury can be built from farming difficulty, scientific research, controlled branding, hidden flavor, or a tradition people refuse to abandon. The most valuable apple is not always the sweetest, largest, darkest, or newest. Sometimes its value comes from carrying an old human meaning into the present. These apples began with a fruit large enough to announce its price from across a room, and ended with a tiny variety whose value depends on memory. Between them were dark peels, invisible honey cores, risky harvests, university laboratories, controlled brands, and recipes preserved by generations of cooks. Luxury, it turns out, cannot be measured by price alone. It exists wherever people decide that a flavor, technique, place, or tradition is worth protecting from ordinary mass production. But premium grading is only one reason unusual fruit remains difficult to experience. To see the opposite side of this story, continue with Why You Never Find These Fruits in a Supermarket. That video follows fruits excluded by short shelf lives, fragile flesh, isolated growing regions, and food cultures that never became global industries. It moves from carefully protected luxury fruit to species that disappear before a global supply chain can even begin. Subscribe to the channel, then watch it next to discover how a fruit can be valuable, even when no luxury market exists to protect it.